A certain number of people randomly and independently wrote down a single letter of the 26-letter alphabet. Was any one letter written down by more than one person? Well, good question. Statement 1 tells us that the number of people who wrote down a letter was greater than 30. So if you have 30 people and a 26-letter alphabet, even if every person tried as hard as they could to write down a different letter, eventually on the 27th person, the 27th person would have to choose a letter that somebody had already chosen. Because all 26 are taken by the first 26 people. Person number 27, 28, 29, 30, those people have to choose a letter that someone else wrote down. Definitely then, Statement 1 tells us that any one letter was written down by more than one person. We aren't looking for was a particular letter written down by more than one person. We don't know, for example, was the letter B written down by more than one person? We cannot tell that. But if the question is, was any letter written down more than once, it must have been. Statement 1 is sufficient to tell us yes. We get rid of B, C, and E. Statement 2 tells us the number of people who wrote down a letter was less than 80. Well, if 80 people wrote down letters, yes, they were repeated. If 27 people wrote down letters, yes, they were repeated. If 25 people wrote down letters with a 26-letter alphabet, they were probably repeated, but not necessarily. This could be, and since it just says less than 80, it could be one person. If only one person wrote down a letter of the alphabet, that person's kind of sad and it writes, writes down the letter Q or something. There's no way that that letter is going to be repeated because there's only one person in the group. So knowing that it's less than 80 doesn't tell us anything. Statement 2 is insufficient. We get rid of D and select A.